We first have to understand that the base is that we consider the Jews and the Christians to be Ahlul Kitab, that they are people of the book. And so we have a relationship with them. We can actually eat their food, and you know, there's even intermarriage to a certain extent. I mean, we consider them to be very similar to us. They are part of the revealed text communities. And so it is the people of the book. So there's no natural animosity against the people of the book. Secondly, we have to historically understand that Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he made a treaty when he set up Medina, you know, as a city-state. The Jewish people were allowed to live in the city and not be forced to be Muslim. And there was a treaty. They played their role within the city, and they were allowed to maintain their customs and their feeling. And so throughout our history, you'll see that wherever the Muslims were able to establish authority, it's a really interesting point, the Jews felt more comfortable there than in other places.
Muslims welcomed the Jewish people into their lands, protected them from the Trinitarians, and allowed the Jews to flourish and live according to their own religious laws. The same applied to Christians who lived under Muslim rule. They were allowed to practice their religion in peace and follow the guidance from their own book. An example of this is when Muslims ruled Spain. The Jews and Christians lived in harmony under Muslim rule and excelled in knowledge far beyond what we know today. Since the powers today are corrupt, they will never let humanity excel in ways that will not benefit them. The knowledge that was achieved through Muslim leadership was such a threat that they threw all the books of knowledge into the waters, which is said to have turned black from all the ink.
586 BC, there was a group of Jewish people who were driven out of their land by Nebuchadnezzar. Right, so this is the Assyrians, you know, who the Babylonians who came in. And so the Jews migrated to Spain in 586 BC, and they established themselves and continued their generations. They lived in parts of North Africa too. And so when the Muslims came into that region, they found that Jewish people were being oppressed by the Visigoths, by the extreme Trinitarian Christians. So Christians who believed in one God and Jews who believed in one God were oppressed. So the Muslims took over the territory. And it's said that when Tariq ibn Ziyad, rahimahullah, in 711 came across that, you know, it was the areas controlled by the Jews, and every city had a fortress, they would open up the gates and they would tell the other people, let them in, because we know them, right? And so they literally thrived in Al-Andalus. And historians agree, even Jewish historians, that the greatest time of Jewish literature is under Muslim rule.
Wow.
Maimonides, who is considered to be the greatest scholar in Jewish history, lived under the Muslims in Al-Andalus, and he actually migrated to North Africa and to Egypt, and he served under Muslim rulers, lived comfortably. And you'll find within Moroccan culture, Algerian, right across, you'll find, you know, Jewish quarters.
On March 31st, 1492, shortly after the end of the Granada War and the end of Muslim rule in Spain, the Catholic monarchs signed the decree of expulsion of the Jews in Granada, which was sent to all the cities, towns, and lordships of their kingdoms. They were given a period of 4 months, which would be extended 10 more days until August 10th to leave the monarch's domains. Those who did not do so within that period, or who returned, would be punished with the death penalty and the confiscation of their property. Likewise, those who aided or concealed the Jews were liable to lose all their goods and inheritances. Some Jews, when the term was running out, had to convert to Christianity and get baptized in order to remain within the lands ruled by Christians.
It wasn't until the political movement came in. You see, that's when things changed, because now it became a political movement that displaced the Palestinians, right? And so this is where relationships started to change. So it's not based on the religion.
So there is no animosity between Judaism and Islam.
No animosity.
From a religious perspective.
That's right, there's no animosity at all.
In the 1950s, Morocco's Jewish population was about 250,000 to 350,000, but due to the migration of Moroccan Jews to Palestine and other nations, including Operation Yachin, which took place between 1961 to 1964, this number has been reduced to approximately 2,250. the vast majority of Moroccan Jews now live in Palestine. We can see today that the favors we Muslims had upon them is not returned. Instead, they have taken our favors and support and decided to respond with injustice against us. It is important for us to understand the history of the world and look into the events of the past in order to understand the events that are taking place in the world today.